This is Palantir. Here are your price targets for Monday. We ended the week at $27.23, up more than 5%. To the north side from where we are takes us to resistance and a potential take profit area at 27.49. Another level of resistance, 27.73, and at 4 standard deviations, roughly 27.99. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend and support, 27.01. VWAP takes us to 26.91 in blue, and below that at -2 standard deviations, 26.51, 26.27, and roughly 26.03. And we have a gap that takes us to roughly 25.89. And looking left, you can see that we bounced here at support, sell off at resistance, and here's another clear signal, support, resistance. And taking a look at this on the daily time frame. Oops. Let me go back to this. So I just got finished watching Formula One. Lewis Hamilton won, so that was incredible. I don't think he's won a race in about 3 years, if you can believe that. And he is moving to Ferrari next year, I think. Is it next year? Or maybe in 26 or 27. But I'm going to go over CrowdStrike at some point and just go over that for you. Oops. And here is another YouTuber that I follow, and that's Puppy Trades. Absolutely love him. And let me go back to my regular chart here. Now we are looking at the daily time frame. We're at 27.23 right here. And resistance will take us to roughly 29.32 at 2 standard deviations, and back at the middle of the trend will take us to roughly 24.74. Obviously a better buy-in price down here, and we do have some gaps to fill to the downside, but we are going in an upward channel. Let's take it back to the 5-minute and show you that. Ignore all of the horizontal lines. The pink ones are my buy-in areas, and the green are my sell areas, and I'm still heavily into this company. All right, we've got that gap. Yeah. Flip it over to the bigger time frames to see the gaps on the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. I do like to troll on the monthly to see what's happening. Oops. Option R. So we're not overbought yet, not overextended yet on the monthly. On the weekly, we have been overextended, and then the sell-off. So pay attention to that if you're trying to get in and out of Palantir or any other ticker. And we are overextended on the daily. And the highest we've ever gone on the daily is 88. Back to the 5-minute. Overextended on the 5-minute there. Now the other ticker I want to quickly go over is Meta. We are at 539.91, up nearly 6%. Here are your price targets. Resistance, very close to this level here, 543.51, 550.85, and roughly 557.56. To the south side, VWAP, 530.49, basically at the middle of the trend there, 514.88, 508.03, and a better price to get in would be at $500.62. Looking left, the last time I talked about this ticker was at 499.49, and that would be right here to here is an 8% return. And we've got a gap to the south side at 477.54, and this baby gap but we are going farther away from these two gaps. We are in an upward channel, and let me show you what we look like on the daily. Option R. Ignore all the horizontal lines. So for the daily, let me delete this. It's getting cloudy here. It's hard to see with everything. Nice green candle. And to the north side, 585.24, and to the south side will take us to roughly 455.58. Many levels of support and resistance in between. The next price target is $600. Very nice. But I remember tracking this when it was really cheap. I think the lowest I tracked it was at 119 maybe. I don't know. Let's take a look at this on the monthly. I can see it better. Oops. Yeah, it looks like 119 is the lowest I've tracked this at. Kind of all over the place. All right, the next one, and the RSI on the monthly while I'm here is overextended, so be careful. And let's take a look at the bottom of the chart of the 234 tickers I'm tracking within the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. Oops, that's my neighbor coming home. And Micron Technologies on the monthly, overextended, so be careful. Watch out for that. Let's take this to the 5-minute, option R. And on the 5-minute, we have gaps, as you can see, to the south side here, not in the channel, not in the zone. I will definitely let you know when we get closer to those levels. 131.60 is where we ended. VWAP takes us to the blue line at 132.25. Above that, the middle of the trend and the baseline, 133.05, 135.52, 136.76, and 138.01. 130.52, 129.30, and 127.99. So we have this gap that is still in play, but we are moving farther away. We're in an upward channel still, even though we're down for the day. And then we have this gap to the upside that will take us to 142.24. And note the sell-off there at resistance. So we've got a lot of landmines to watch out for. The 1-year price target is 176.17. Let's take a look at this on the daily. Oops, gosh darn it. So we are at 131.60 right here. So we've got this gap to get through, and then to this line at 2 standard deviations, 145.10, and below that will be 124.33. So a better entry price. If we get to this level, that will take out this gap. But there are other landmines, as I mentioned, and this one as well. So when you pull out and look at the bigger picture, you'll see what's going on, and then you can draw your support and resistance lines. So for instance, if I'm doing that on the 5-minute, what I'd like to do is I anticipate us grinding along wherever the middle of the trend is. So right now we're moving along this line, but we could go sideways and then eventually go down to fill those gaps. That remains to be seen, but what I'd like to do is put lines for support and resistance. So I will anticipate either we follow this line slowly or we drift back to here and then possibly go down. And then if I wanted to do another level of resistance at 2 standard deviations. Now for the week, check this out. We could be playing within -2 and 2 for this week and grinding along here. So, I'm going to end it here. That is a look at Palantir, Meta, and Micron Technologies on the 5-minute time frame. Have a great trading week.